okay? I'm here. I'm here. It's been a while since you've had one of those nightmares. Tell me, what was it about?
It's only fragments. Nothing's clear.
Well, I can happily say the bad movies of January and February may be over, and Denis Villeneuve brings us Dune Part 2 and one of the best theater experiences I've seen in a while. Now, there's a lot of talk about this movie. This is going to be a non-spoiler review where I go over my kind of non-spoilery thoughts, but I will say this off the top. Beware of overhype. Dune Part 2 has a lot to love. Things like its cinematography, things like acting from certain individuals, and overall just aesthetic of feeling in a movie theater. But I don't think this is as great as a lot of people out there are calling it to be. I'm talking about it being Lord of the Rings type, it being Empire Strikes Back type, it even being the Dark Knight type in that second type of movie or this grand movie. I think this movie, for me personally, fell very short of those expectations. And while overall a great movie experience, only a good movie at best. I would even dare to say that the first Dune is one that I would prefer more to the second part. But that doesn't mean this was a terrible movie. It doesn't mean I wouldn't recommend you go see it next weekend, whether in Dolby, IMAX, or any theater. All of those things can still be true, but I would just say beware of overhype. Now, the first person I want to praise for this movie is going to be Zendaya. Her role of Shanti, I felt, was the best acted character and the one as an audience member you get to the most. And how she treats Paul and their relationship throughout the whole entire movie, Zendaya does an amazing job, and she's quickly becoming, I think, not just a popular actress, but a very, very good actress. This is a role that, if it was Oscar season, I can see her up for Best Supporting Actress, maybe even Best Lead Actress talks about. I don't know if she'd be nominated for it, but I think she'd be worthy if she was nominated for either of those role categories because she brings it as Shanti. And again, she's the emotional core to this movie, and I can't say enough positive for Zendaya. The other person I would praise the most is obviously Denis Villeneuve. He's able to take this world and make it feel real. The visuals in this movie are standout. The action in this movie is tremendous when it's there. And I think the sound and everything in this movie just works very well. Hans Zimmer and the score, haunting as well. Not even just haunting, but overall beautiful score that will be remembered in time. I loved those parts of the movie. And as far as other acting characters, I think Rebecca Ferguson as Lady Jessica, again, takes her role and nails it out of the park very, very well. Very impressed with Rebecca Ferguson in this movie. And even Javier Bardem comes in this movie, and he plays a little bit different version of Steiger than I was expecting. I'm not somebody who read the books, but he really parallels what becomes the main central conflict of this movie, which is religion versus what you want to believe. And he represents a side that is very believing in the prophecy and religion. And you see that around the Furman throughout the whole movie per se, and how it affects Timothée Chalamet's Paul Atreides. And Timothy, I think, does a great job as Paul Atreides in this movie. And I love his tenderness in moments. I loved his seriousness in moments. I think if he was doing the stunts, he was doing very good acting wise. He brings an overall great presence to the screen. Again, another actor who is just blossoming in Hollywood and could become a very big star over the next couple decades. A super big shout out too for Austin Butler for playing Fade Rothra, a character that you see in the trailers and is maybe not as present in the movie as you may think, but when he's in there, Austin Butler demands the screen, and it is truly a great performance from him. And it's nice to see him talk and act not as Elvis. But this brings me to my overall issues with the movie, and it is its writing, where I think Dune 1 has the same type of issues. Dune 2 isn't able to flesh out its characters in a quick enough time so that they all can get good enough screen time that we feel worthy of events that comes in the third act of this movie. And I don't want to, I'm not going to spoil anything here, but I will say there's things that happened that I don't think were earned because I felt very poor writing or things weren't breathed out, which isn't a great thing to be saying in my perspective because the movie is almost 2.5, 3 hours to begin with. It's 2 hours and 46 minutes. And I felt, I thought at first when I was driving home, like, well, they had a lot of characters. Like, no, they really didn't have that much character. I've seen movies be able to handle this many characters and flesh them out a lot better. And that's not to say anything bad about the acting in this movie. I think everybody from Florence Pugh up to Timothée Chalamet down to Josh Brolin acted their butts off in this movie. Dave Bautista, I thought was one of his more flat performances, but I just felt the writing and the story of Dune Part 2 was severely lacking and did not do a good enough job telling the story in a way where you got to know who everybody was, and I didn't leave this movie satisfied to the fullest. Now, the theater experience, I think, is well worth going to see it. The visuals are beautiful. The sand scenes are a lot lighter than the first movie. I wonder if Denis Villeneuve made it a point for it to be more, I would say, a bright yellowy tone instead of a dark orangey tone, but it felt very much like a brighter movie than Dune Part 1. And I really appreciate that because I think it really lends itself to the IMAX cameras. You see it in all its beauty, but I can't call this a great overall movie because the writing lets itself down. I think I will be interested in Dune Messiah or third Dune movie when it comes out, but I did not leave this movie being like, I need to go see this again. I probably will just because I have a free IMAX thing coupon I can use next week, but it wasn't that type of a movie. It wasn't like I need to see something in this movie again. And there's a lot of comparisons out there to a lot of great movies, and I just would temper everybody who's going to go see it this next week. Bring the expectations down a bit, and it might even help you enjoy the movie more. Maybe one reason why I'm a little bit more nitpicky of this one is because I went in with those super high expectations. The 97% on Rotten Tomatoes is a score of a lot of people who saying the movie is over 7 out of 10. And I would say that 100%. There's no way you can watch this movie and think this is a below 7 out of 10 movie. But I wouldn't go above like an 8.5 with this. And I think 8.5 is even pushing it. This movie, again, visually amazing, delivers a great performance with Zendaya, but the writing really does not allow the other characters' arcs to flesh out and for it to fully give a satisfying ending for me. Tell me if I'm wrong down below. I'll give more thoughts in a more spoiler review where I'll pinpoint the areas that I did not personally enjoy and where I felt the movie left off poorly. But Dune Part 2 is definitely going to be a box office type hit next week. But I do wonder if showing this early is going to produce the word of mouth that Warner Brothers hoped, or will this be another high blockbuster movie that doesn't deliver enough of the revenue to really warrant how expensive this movie was? But I could be wrong, and if I am wrong, comment that down below. But please like this. Everybody is okay to have their own opinion. I might not like this movie as much as others, but that doesn't invalidate your opinion at all. And it doesn't make my opinion great or bad. Everybody should go and see this movie and come up with their own opinion. But that's going to be it for me tonight. I just wanted to give a short little non-spoiler review and really just get my thoughts off my head. And like I said, I'm gonna release a more spoiler review type review on Friday or Saturday next week once the movie comes out and plays in theaters at least a day or two, where I really break down the positives and the negatives of Dune. But like I said, overall, a good movie, but I wouldn't call it great. Until then, enjoy the movies, folks.
You are not prepared